Hey, what's up YouTube? 40-year-old surfer here. The purpose of this video is really to kick off a series of videos over the next year that I'm going to be doing every 30 to 60 days to update you on my progress on a series of anti-aging supplements that have now come out, and I'm going to be using myself as a guinea pig. The primary supplement I'm going to give feedback on today is the supplement known as NR, sometimes known as NMN. The chemical name is nicotinamide riboside. Now, I first learned about this particular supplement about 90 days ago through a series of podcasts where Dr. David Sinclair, who runs the Harvard Anti-Aging Laboratory, has been touting its benefits to not only slow aging, but potentially reverse aging. NR and some mice trials has shown to basically reverse some of the key factors, I guess, that cause us to age. So, of course, like anybody, I want to live longer, live healthier while I'm alive, have greater endurance and energy and all of that. So, anyway, I thought I would give it a shot. So that's going to be the primary, or I'm going to have primary results from that supplement on this video. However, I'm going to be talking about over the next 6 to 12 months, not only how I feel and if I feel an increase or improvement in just basic aches and pains, recovery time, sleep, all of that, but I'm also going to be having my blood work done by a lab that I've identified. Dr. Sinclair doesn't directly mention it, but he does allude to it that he uses this lab. And the various products that I'm using you can find in the description. I encourage you to maybe do your own research. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. However, over the next few months, I'm also going to be including ultimately 2 other supplements. One is Metformin. Metformin is normally used for type 2 diabetes, but Dr. Sinclair talks about how it's also being now used as an anti-aging supplement. And then the other supplement I'm going to be talking about is Resveratrol. Resveratrol is something that Dr. Sinclair and I think maybe a few others identified a few years ago, or maybe 10 plus years ago. It's a molecule found normally in red wine, but it's also been one of these kind of what I call the cocktail, or David Sinclair's cocktail, as to what he thinks are the best results out there, or provide the best anti-aging results out there. So if you want to get monthly updates or every 3 to 6 months, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If it's useful, go ahead and hit the thumbs up, of course. Appreciate that. I think this video is probably going to be a little bit longer. I've got some notes in front of me. I'm going to try and keep it as succinct as possible. If you're like me, when I'm watching YouTube videos, I want to have the information just straight to the point, without a bunch of superfluous details, if at all possible. But this one will be a little bit longer because I want to give you the background on who I am, kind of my size, weight, metrics, so you can see if you are similar to me and compare to me, and can see yourself maybe having similar results as you decide to potentially try some of these supplements yourself. So with that as background, let me start with the results. So I started taking nicotinamide riboside, or NR, 250 milligrams daily approximately 1 month ago. And I will tell you, I have had fantastic results with it. To give you a little bit of background on, again, size, shape, I'm 6'5", 200 pounds. I'm now 41 years old. I'm still pretty aggressive in terms of recreating. I'm an aggressive snow skier, water skier, and I also love to surf. Now, over the last 10 years or so, I've had a lot of low back pain. I think primarily due to lots of high school and college basketball, and then intramural basketball as an adult. Looking at an MRI, I've got true pathology. I've got a partially herniated disc at L5, S1. And so over the last 10 years, just getting up in the morning, bending over to pick something up, bending over the sink to brush my teeth or wash my hands, sometimes I will have spasms that just hurt quite a bit. So being active, still wanting to recreate, I've tried physical therapy, and I do physical therapy regularly. I stretch all the time. I try and eat very clean and healthy. So I will tell you that after the third day of taking 250 milligrams of NR, I was already noticing an improvement in my general aches and pains. Basically, when I would get up, and that directly related to my back, which is my primary source of discomfort. I've been very, very impressed. Just in terms of pain relief, I would say it's 50% better. Now, I've got a good friend of mine who he's also doing the same thing. He's 57. He has noticed improvements, but it took him longer. I will say now that I've been about a month in, I continued to see pain improvements for that first month, but I do feel like it's leveled off, maybe at a 50% improvement. So if you watch some of David Sinclair's podcasts, which I'll put a few links to some of the podcasts where he was on Joe Rogan's show, or if you want the abbreviated version, which is 18 minutes, he talks about the 3 different supplements, NR, Resveratrol, as well as Metformin. I'll post those links, but what I would say is David Sinclair takes more than 250 milligrams. I think he talks about taking 1,000 milligrams a day. So at this point, I do think I'm going to increase my NR dose to 500 and see if I start to get additional pain improvement. So from an energy standpoint, I can't say that I've noticed an improvement in energy, but I didn't feel like I had a deficit as it related to energy. Sleep, I know others have reported it's really helping them sleep better. I've been a good sleeper. I've been fortunate enough to sleep well. I sleep 8 hours every night without a problem. So I haven't noticed any particular benefit in terms of sleep. But one thing I will say, in addition to the back pain, is recovery. So a few weeks ago, my kid's spring break, I skied for a week. That was one area where I really noticed an improvement. Typically, I would wake up in the morning before we'd go out and ski moguls hard. I would really have to stretch. And after a day or two into it of skiing moguls hard, I was hurting. I'm taking anti-inflammatories, I'm stretching, all of that. And while I was still sore, my recovery was much improved. I didn't have that same back pain that I had before. So my low back pain, it can really be identified in that lower right or lower left-hand quadrant. I would oftentimes use a softball or a baseball where I would just lay on it and roll over those muscles that I would just feel kind of a sharp, very sharp pain. I haven't done that at all since I basically started doing this after a week of taking NR. Literally, I just haven't had that same level of pain. Also, which kind of snuck up on me, I've forgotten to stretch over the last couple of weeks, which was something I did every single day. But stretching was driven by that back pain, and so I'm very impressed with this supplement. To me, the proof is in the pudding, and I just feel so much better that it's one of the things I've been most excited about in everything that I've tried to just stay active and have pain relief as I get older and my low back hurts. So I'm very excited about the supplement. I will be doubling it to 500 milligrams a day, and then I'll report back in 30 or 45 days. So the other thing that I've done, as I mentioned earlier in the video, is I had some blood work done about a week ago. So I had already started taking NR for about 3 weeks. So it's not a pure, baseline in that sense. But the lab that I use, which I'll also put a link to, this is a lab that will tell you your your biological age versus your chronological age. So I'm 41, and they look at a variety of blood tests, which they will help you have done. I think it costs about $100, and they come back to you with what your biological age is based on their algorithm. So their report, which I'll also post so you can take a look at their report, says that I am 46. So I'm 41. They say my biological age, though, is 41. So that's primarily, it looks like, based on their report being driven, that my glucose level is a little bit higher. So not only am I going to track it just based on how I feel, but as I'm taking NR and then ultimately these other supplements, does the blood work reflect? Does that biological age actually come down, and does it support in a more empirically based way these supplements? Now look, in some ways I'm already convinced on NR. I would recommend it to anybody who's got general aches and pains right now. Again, I'm only 30 days into it, but I've had 0 side effects, and I'm just feeling a lot better. So at the end of the day, if the blood work comes back and it still says I'm 5 years older than I should be, in some ways I don't care, but I am just curious to see if these supplements do actually drop that biological age down to either where it should be or even younger. I will say David Sinclair talks about this, how originally before he started taking NR, his biological age was older than what his chronological age was. After he started taking them and retested 3 months later, he had dropped more than 10 years, I believe. So don't know if I fully believe that, but so far, just the results in terms of how I feel is much better. One more comment just about the anti-aging cocktail, if you will, or that's what I'm terming it, from David Sinclair. So I'll post these notes in the description from the Joe Rogan podcast, but David Sinclair says he takes 1,000 milligrams of NR daily. He says he takes 1,000 milligrams of Metformin daily, and then he takes 500 milligrams of Resveratrol. So one comment about supplements. I've taken supplements for a lot of years. As we all know, supplements don't have the same regulatory rigor that, say, a pharmaceutical has to go through. So I would say I haven't done exhaustive research. You'll see the company that I use for mine. It seemed like they were very reputable. They had about 25% of the people on their advisory board. 25% of the people on the advisory board actually had Nobel Prizes. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, there may be less expensive, even though from the 2 or 3 brands or 4 brands that I looked at, I'm paying about $40 a month, at least for the 250, and that seemed comparable out there. But this was, I think, a larger, bigger name brand, and I just didn't want to waste a bunch of time trying to get the cheapest product out there. I wanted a product that was pretty reputable. I think the founder of this particular company, he runs the anti-aging lab at MIT. So, I guess I bought into some of that, so to speak, and that's what I chose. For Resveratrol, I'll post the link. I'm getting that from Costco. I do a ton of shopping at Costco. If somebody else knows of a better brand that I think is higher quality, please instant message me. That one I think is going to be about $10 a month. Metformin, I have had my doctor prescribe it. It's generic. It was, I think, $10 a month. There is also a supplement, though, that I'm considering that essentially does the same thing as Metformin. I've looked online. It does seem to have close to equivalent efficacy, called berberine. So I haven't decided if I'm going to take Metformin yet or berberine. I probably will start with Metformin and see if I can actually tolerate it, just because that's what David Sinclair does, and he talks about some of the research that's been done there. So anyway, check out the links in the description for the companies, for the NR. I'll put the specific link for the Resveratrol that I put with Costco. They do have a couple brands, and so I'll show you the one that I chose primarily because it had more Resveratrol in it. I'll get back to you if I decide whether to go with berberine or Metformin. If I do Metformin, I will try and probably get to the 1,000 milligrams per day. And then also there's a link for the laboratory that that I've had my blood work done, as well as what I'm gonna have done in the next 3 to 6 months, and then again 3 to 6 months later, to see if I actually see a drop in my biological age in the same way that David Sinclair did. So again, if you want updates, feel free to subscribe to the channel. If this was useful, again, thumbs up, and I hope you guys find some value in this. Take care.